All right, welcome everybody to another coach's interview session thing here, and we have with us today someone that it's been taking a little while to get a hold of him. We've been trying to set stuff up, but we both have pretty heavy duty work schedules, and he's got a heavier one than me, I believe. Mr. Tony Bauman, how we doing?
Good.
I'm saying it
Good.
right? Bauman? Bauman?
Bauman.
Okay,
Yep,
Bauman.
Bauman. Yep.
And you've been with Fast Tracks now for how long? 2
Oh,
years?
at least 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the first question we ask everybody is, give me some background. How'd you get into riding motorcycles, sir?
Oh, okay. Um, I wasn't involved in motorcycles much growing up. I was raised originally Amish and then over to Mennonite. Till I was 18. So I wasn't allowed to have, you know, sport anything with a motor, really. 2010, I ended up getting a street bike because my buddies, they all had them. And, you watch them. So yeah, it makes you want to do it too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 2010, I got a 1996 Gixxer 750. One of the old ones
Oh
without
yeah.
it didn't even, I think the front brake lever was broken on it, like it was a piece of crap. Um, but I made do, learned on that. Then, yeah, 2011. So about a year later, I stepped up and then I got an '07 Gixxer 600. And then I rode that with all my buddies. I mean, we rode all night long. Like that's just what we did when we were younger. And then 2013, I got kind of scared away from the street bikes or crotch rockets because I had a couple buddies that wrecked pretty bad, got hurt on the street. Didn't know anything about the track at this point. And then I got a M109R, which
Yeah.
was a cruiser bike at that time. Uh, didn't like it. I didn't like all the wind and like my hands got numb. I didn't enjoy it. So 2015, then I bought a new 899 Panigale. Uh,
Nice.
so then, oh, that's a sore subject bike right there. I
Why is
did
that?
do it. Got stolen.
Oh really?
Yeah, it got stolen when I was in Florida on vacation.
So you didn't have it with you? It was stolen at home.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was at home. I come back and went to the garage after I came back from vacation, and it was gone.
That's.
And my trailer that it was on.
Oh wow. So it
Yeah,
had to be somebody you knew, right?
yeah, he's in jail right now, but not for my case. I think he's in jail for other issues. But yeah, we found the license plate 2 blocks away from my house in the weeds.
Oh Jesus. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
so never got it back, but that insurance money went towards a track bike. So
So what piqued your interest, or how did you get to know about riding the track, or what inspired you to get on the track? Was it some people, or um,
yeah, it was. So when I had the 2015 Ducati, I had met, I don't know, I mean, if you know him or not, but Mike Klabowski. He owns Wicked Racing.
that sounds
Um,
familiar? But no, I don't think I remember.
yeah, he sells a lot of stuff like CJ DeRoach. He sells almost all his parts to him. A couple Moto America guys, but he lives 15 minutes from my house. And I met him. They made a post on Facebook about going on a sporty ride.
Yeah,
And I'm like, well, that sounds fun. So I met him up at Sheets, local area here, and they're in full leathers, boots. And I'm just like, oh, I'm in like jeans and a t-shirt. And well, no, I think I had a textile top on
yeah.
at that time, but I had a helmet, obviously. But we went out and hit the back roads, and they were sitting at stop signs for 15, 20 minutes waiting on me, 'cause I thought I was decently quick,
Yeah.
but no, no, not even close. So that kind of piqued my interest. And then my buddy from New York came down, and he's rode it. He's not rode at the track like road course, but he's done like the quarter-mile tracks, you know, drag racing and stuff.
Yeah.
He thought he was quick. I was like, well, let's go. Like, they put up another post on a Sunday, and they said, let's go. And went and took him out, and well, we found out that we weren't even in the same league, like not even close. But at that time, I was going to the track. The people that were there, like Simon Wade, he would have been at the endurance race with me this year. They're getting up there in age, and Mike Kowalski, Eddie Bennett, and I would have met Craig as well, because we all knew each other. Yeah.
Well, who said to you, hey, you should come out to the track?
So Mike, the guy that owned the Wicked Racing, was like, hey, you should take that bike out the track and let it open up, because it's an 899. You can't. The street that's not what it was meant for, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I had the bike 2 years before I rode it at the track the first time. And during that summer of 2007, it was 2017 that I went to the track at the end of the year. Yeah, it was towards the end of the year. So I had rode with them on the street in the summer, like in the middle of the summer. And then they convinced me, and I got my leathers, got the whole get up, and went to Summit Point for my first track day.
I was going to ask you, what track was your first? So Summit Point?
Yeah, I'm about an hour and 15 from Summit.
Okay.
And that's when Motorcycle Excitement was running there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know who that is. Yeah.
Yeah, they are out of bit. Well, he retired now.
Yeah.
But I went there. That's who I went with the first time in 2017, and it was raining.
Oh, which
so
is
my first track day.
This is perfect for me to interject real quick and just like ask you about because I'm sure you're gonna just roll into this, but I want you to kind of answer a few questions. Like, so what was your expectations going into it versus reality of that first track day for you?
So Mike and all them kept telling me to go in with an open mind, act like you don't even know how to ride. That was probably the best advice they gave me.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah.
Because at that point, I still thought that I was, decent, but you have to go in things with an open mind. And I think that, and then it being a rain day as well, I think that amplified you better come in with an open mind, because a lot of things can go bad in the rain on your first track day. Like, none of them rode. I was the only person that rode. They backed out,
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, were you hesitant? Were you like, I don't know, maybe I'll wait till a dry day? Or were you just like, screw it, I'm here, I'm doing it?
Yeah, I just spent all that time, I thought it took a lot of time to prep my bike. Not really. But I had it all prepped, and, I was gung-ho to go. I just spent money on suits and boots and gloves and everything to try to make sure I could go. So, no, I ran. But it wasn't great, because there was not a lot of coaching that happened because of it. It's a rain day.
Yep.
People didn't really, they didn't want to ride. Now I know why. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But back then, yeah.
When was your first dry track day then?
So,
and what was the because like obviously in the rain it's way different, right? Obviously you were saying that. Yeah. I mean, but like for your first dry track day, same kind of question. Like, what were your ambitions going into it, and what was the reality? Because I mean, now we're talking about, there is grip there, and not knowing limitation stuff versus like rain is just a very, it's a very tiptoe situation no matter what. But like on your first dry track day, how was that?
Um,
And who was it
a
with
lot
or
better.
whatever? Same place?
So, no. So the good thing that I did learn though on the rain was to be smooth. That was basically the only thing they really taught you at all. Like that was the only thing that they tried to put in your head,
That's a
which
pretty major
great.
thing, right?
It
Yeah.
was great for my first track day. Then after that, I went to, I think it was about a month later. I went to, well, it wasn't even a month. I went to Pittsburgh
Oh,
with
what
them.
a great second track to go to. Jeez.
Yeah. And I went Saturday and Sunday. So I did a 2-day weekend at Pittsburgh next. Um, Without, we all know who runs at Pittsburgh and stuff, but
Yeah,
my biggest issue that I had when going to that track day is there was 6 people per coach
that's a lot.
at on my first day
Yeah.
on
And
dry.
probably 50 people in the
And
whole
it was,
novice, right?
well, here's the other thing, it was at the end of the year. So everybody that had been there all year long was they had a lot more speed.
Yeah.
So I basically got left behind. Like
Uh,
I was at the back of everything, but since I went with friends that had been riding for years, it it helped a lot because then I could go back and talk to them, and then they can kind of give me their input. So the coaching didn't matter as much
yeah,
as what
I
the
wonder
friends
if
did because they kind of coached me.
yeah, I wonder if you didn't have your buddies there, what your perception would have been like. Instead
It
like
would,
for me, like I've talked about before, like my first track day, like it was just the worst experience for me. No coaching. I didn't have people there to talk to really. So I almost like walked away from it completely because I'm like, if this is how this is shit.
I think that's probably what would have happened if I wouldn't have had my friends there, just
Yeah.
because of that, just because of the simple fact of you couldn't talk to them with 6 people. You couldn't even find time to communicate them in between meetings because you couldn't find them.
Right.
They're always busy, or But that's besides the point.
So
6 people is too many.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So from going stemming from that, how long were you doing track days before you got to your, kind of more, I guess, into advance and you do race now? What
Yeah.
was your progression like up through that? And when did you decide to race? How, like, what prompted you to decide to want to race?
So after that, so I had the Ducati, then it got stolen at the end of 2017. And I had already made the decision that I was going to invest in another bike for the track. And I had picked up an '08 CBR 600 that was wrecked,
Yeah.
our title, I fixed it up and did everything to it. And then 2018, I rode that bike. I was still in novice at that point. Um, I'm trying to think how many. I think it was at least 2 seasons I was in novice
Yeah.
because I went to Summit Point, went to Pittsburgh, I went to Nelson, and I went to NC Bike.
Yep.
So I traveled and did a bunch of different tracks
And
in
it's hard to
novice.
learn to be proficient at one thing if you're going to several tracks, right?
Yeah, but I think it helped me in the long run
Yeah,
because
probably. Yeah.
I love different tracks, different corners. Like, I don't know, have you been to NC Bike?
No, I heard that huge
Yeah,
long C they have, the carousel. It's just they're like you could change your
it's
line and body position like 25 times.
yeah, it's longer than the one at Nelson,
Yeah.
way longer. But they've changed that now, from my understanding. But they ran it clockwise and counterclockwise.
Oh, that's interesting.
For Saturday, you ran it one way, and Sunday you ran it the other way. So, in my opinion, you couldn't. In novice, it was not
Yeah, it's hard to
helpful.
like memorize if you're doing it backwards the
Yeah,
next day. Yeah.
yeah, and that was with motorcycle excitement as well down there.
Okay.
Um, Phew. Yeah, I think I rode that bike up until I got my current bike, my Suzuki. Um, but when I was still running the CBR, me and Eddie Bennett and Craig Swanwick started the endurance team at the beginning of Lean's endurance.
Yeah. What did you? I don't think you had to have a race license then, right? For lean,
Uh, yeah.
you did.
So they had the race license at the beginning of the year. That's funny. I wrecked the first time ever
During your race license.
doing my race
Oh,
license.
jeez.
I think it was like my second lap out. It was cold
Yeah.
in the morning and there was still water coming up in turn 12. Right, like at turn 12, and
Yeah.
I hit it, wiped right out. I think Craig and we slapped some parts back on the bike and got it back out there, and they didn't fail me.
That's good. It's good.
But I
But
had been with
that was the whole
Mike.
reason of getting your race license is to do the endurance.
Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't even at that time didn't even really want to do sprints because I didn't really interest me that much at that point. I just enjoyed going fast.
Yeah.
So, and that would have been that year, the year before that, which I'm not sure what year that started with lean
Yeah. That it
endurance.
was like I think we only got 2 years of that,
Yeah,
maybe,
and I think
because
the
this
year
the second year is when they started doing the like uh doing like the grid stuff where you know have umbrella people on the grid, which
umbrellas,
is really cool.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's only 2 years of it.
But the year before that is when I had actually got to intermediate.
Okay.
So I stayed in novice. I mean, I classify, I'm like a slow, like methodical, like try to
It's the way I
go.
am, dude. Like I think I spent, probably I don't know, maybe like a year and a half in novice, and then intermediate I spent a lot of time in as well. Some of it was like what I hear a lot of feedback from people now, the same thing where it's like, well, I don't want to slow people down. You don't feel like you're fast enough. You feel like, well, I have to be lapping everybody in intermediate to like to think that you're ready to go to advance for some reason. Like you just don't want to get like in people's way and like feel like you're a hindrance to other riders or something. I don't know. It's like a weird way to think now when I look back at it. It's
Yeah.
odd, but
Yeah.
at the time that was my train of thought. I had nobody telling me any different.
Yeah. And it's what convinced me because I had been told that, I should go, I should be an intermediate. But everybody kept telling me, oh, it's grinder class.
Right?
It's the
Yeah,
meat grinder
it
class.
is though. Yeah,
It is, yes. So I was scared, to
yeah,
go into intermediate and be bombarded. But uh, at that point, I think when I got my intermediate bump, I was at, with lean.
yep,
Um, so I've been basically there ever since the beginning of lean, before the curbing was put in on at Nelson.
yeah.
Um, so I went through novice classes with Mike the whole way up through. So I've been there ever since the beginning of that.
Nice.
Yep.
And so you went through racing, did that stuff. At how were you approached to become a coach? How did that whole deal transpire for you?
So first off, I kind of was interested in it because I'm like, this sport seems like it needs to be kept pushed in order for people to keep getting into it.
Yep.
Um, and I talked to Craig
Yep.
because at that point he just became a coach. I think he was a coach like the previous year a little bit
Okay.
before and then he's like, well, message Mike. So I messaged Mike and, I went through, and explained to him, how long I'd been riding, with him and did all that kind of stuff. And he remembered me from novice class, and everything. So, and he's like, well, you know everything that we do. So that was kind of what started it. And also I wanted more track time,
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
because it's, we all, when you do endurance, it's not about, a couple laps. You need 40 minutes at least.
For sure. For sure. And I that kind of prompts into another question, which is, you know, what was the, why did you want to become a coach? Obviously, there is a little bit of that. I think everybody has a little bit of that, like getting a little bit more track time or whatever. But like, you kind of a little bit explained it, but you could go into a little bit more depth with like, the what was the big push for you or the biggest reason, and has any of those reasons changed now since you have been coaching? But like, what was the big reason for you to want to reach out to coach?
I, I think the biggest reason that I wanted to do it at the very beginning was more people. I wanted to be able to try to help more people get better on the road because I've seen so many issues and so many friends getting hurt on the street that should be going to the track to do that stuff.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, it's just, and I wanted to help the new people coming in, you know, to get better, even at just, if they just wanted to ride the street, that's fine, but to learn how to handle your motorcycle better.
was there
That was the biggest.
things that from your experiences, being a novice and doing those things with different organizations that had anything to do with some of that?
Yeah. I'm just like I had said before, where there was 6 people to every teacher, which to me, that meant that they needed more teachers. They needed more people to help coach. And that's kind of why that's what originally started. I kind of wanted to be a coach way before I did. I just didn't know how to, go
Yeah.
about it.
Well, with I think with lean, I don't think they ever did like a 6-1, right?
No,
Yeah, that was
no,
just
I'm
with
talking my original,
yeah.
yeah, times of riding because I didn't ride with lean. I don't think, when did the track get repaved?
Oh man, I can't remember. It's been a while now.
Yeah, is it 5 years old at least?
It's got to be right.
It might, yeah,
At least it might be 7. I can't remember.
yeah.
So has your viewed on why you like being a coach or why you keep doing, is it changed at all? Is there any other like reasons that have popped up since you've been doing it?
Uh, Other than making sure that other people can ride their motorcycle to the best of their ability, that is my goal. That's all that there is to it for me. Because other than meeting new people, learning, I mean, goodness, I hope that I mean, I'm sure we all have, but a Diavel, to go
Yeah.
around the track,
Yeah. There's some
and
wild stuff that comes in. It's
yeah,
crazy. And it's amazing that after a day, at the end of the day, what they look like after, it's
yeah,
some people are sponges and just really take to it. And yeah, it's that guy that was on that street glide or whatever. Like I was thoroughly impressed. I mean, this is just a
yeah,
regular old street glide, nothing set up for the track whatsoever. And that guy was riding the balls off of it. I was
oh
like,
yeah,
man, good for him. Because like, dude, when do you ever see cruiser guy like? Almost never. And I've ever talked to anybody that rides any type of bike that's not a sport bike. They're always like, I don't need that. Like I ride, I'm not going to race. I'm like, no, dude, it's there's more to it than that. But that
absolutely,
guy, man, to have just the fortitude and foresight to be like, yeah, there's stuff I can learn. He'll be the best rider in his pack of riders now when he goes out with his guys because like
and
he's learned.
probably the
So,
safest.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, learn to use the front brake instead of the rear. Those things.
Yeah, and how much front brake you can actually use before you lose traction. It's a
Right.
lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
Yep.
that kind of leads into another question then. From the time that you've been doing this now, is there a particular instance coaching that really just sticks out in your head? Maybe like a particular person that you helped or, particular group, anything that just was like, man, that was like a highlight of your time coaching so far.
Well, obviously the Diavo and helping him get around the track was obviously a memorable time because I brought it up already. So I mean, ones that stick out. I get, because my biggest thing is as long as the person has improved from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, that's what makes me happy. As far as like seeing somebody else improve,
Yep.
I'm not worried about myself. Like I want to see other people. I get joy out of helping other people improve. That's
Has there anybody that really struggled that you worked with maybe one on one? Like it could be a novice, like after lunch, where you're it's kind of a free open thing, but you may work with somebody one on one or somebody at intermediate that you've helped, or that you just were struggling on something, and at the end of the day, it was a huge turnaround. It just kind of like really stuck with you. Anything like that?
There's a couple. I helped a guy. I'm trying to remember his name right now. He's a little hard. He can't hear very well. Can't the communication in big groups is hard
Yeah.
for if you can't hear everything and you can't or you can't process things in big groups because it's too much for you. I enjoy helping the people that don't like the big groups and want the smaller
Yeah.
help. It just that's my I don't really like big groups either. So I'm not a big group kind of person. So
Yeah, the one-on-one thing is just, I mean, to me it's a more intimate setting, and you can really it's easier to like get things across, and then it typically seems to be that you'll find that the changes come easier, and it's just I don't know, it just seems like more rewarding that way.
the other thing about the one-on-one is you can actually adjust your way of relating, like your terminologies, your way of communicating with them to their what they understand.
Right.
Whereas when you have four people, one person could be learned this way, one person can learn this way, and they're both at the opposite ends of the spectrum of how they receive the knowledge.
Yeah, not only that, like, I mean, the differences in bikes your group may have when you're novice, like a Ninja,
Yeah,
an R3 up, and then another guy's on a thousand, and what I mean, it's very very hard.
yeah.
Uh, what was another question I was going to ask? Uh, shit, I just lost my track. Oh yes. So we'll talk about fast tracks a little bit. As far as obviously you've ridden with several other organizations, and we don't have to. I mean, you've named some stuff, but we don't have to go and say, well, the reason why this group sucked, or what. We're not going to do that. But like, what do you feel that Fast Tracks does that puts them, our organization, that just step above other organizations, or what really shines out about Fast Tracks as a organization?
I would say that the one thing that happened to me that does not happen with fast tracks, like that I've ever seen, is I had talked to a coach with another organization, and I was trying to get a little bit of help in the afternoon after everybody was loose to get some like one-on-one help, and they wanted to charge me.
Really? That's crazy.
Uh, yes, that was kind of the helpingness of fast tracks. I think is another level, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like we're willing to do anything we can. We'll bend over backwards to make sure that you're having the best day possible, and that's what makes people come back. That's what. Why else? If you're not getting what you wanted or what you thought you paid for, why would you want to come back?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. I mean, this is just my personal appearance or personal opinion on it, is like, I feel like we give more value than what we charge for. I think, like,
Yeah,
I mean, people that go into like, oh man, whatever, this costs this much to do a track day, and they try to put it up against other track days. But like, when you come and experience it, like, I think our level of service and our commitment to the people that come to the track is just another level. Like, and it's not just the help. Like, we're there for anybody that needs anything to show lines or help out on the track, but like, the other part of it, we're loaning tools and loaning equipment and whatever. Like we just like we'll do whatever, and it has not like that part really has nothing to do with organization. It's just
Yeah.
the group of people that we have are just so like friendly and helpful and willing to do anything because they love the sport and they want to see it flourish. And I think that's just like that puts us up a little bit. That just the group of people we have assembled are just like, man, just
Yeah.
extremely great people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got something else? What were you
Not,
saying? Were you about
not
to
on
say?
that. No, I just said yes.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Okay. So, you obviously, you went through novice and then you also do a lot of coaching in office and stuff. So what do you think is like, the number one thing, that's hardest for people in novice to overcome to like step into that next level to get that bump to intermediate?
Oh,
And you could pull from your own experience or, people that you've coached. And is there like an average among the novices that you've helped, anything like that?
I feel like the biggest thing that a lot of people, or at least I did anyway, and I'm thinking there's other people that are that way because I've heard it in the past where they're just scared that the confidence isn't there to jump to that next. They maybe is plenty fast enough, but without the confidence in themselves to feel like they're ready to go to intermediate. And the same thing with advanced, because I mean, if you don't have the confidence, you're gonna freak out when somebody comes up beside you, or dive bombs you into the corner if you don't have the confidence. And it happens fast.
Yeah.
Whenever
So
you go novice and then to intermediate, how fast people can come up on you. You know,
what do you think is the one of the things to help, or is there anything that you do to help those people, overcome that confidence issue? Or is there any insight that you have that could help people that, do have that confidence issue? I don't know, a tip, a trick, anything that you've implemented or ideas you've had or something that you've done for yourself?
I think when I got bumped into intermediate after everybody was telling me that I was ready, I went into intermediate and I still felt like, I was at the back until I wore earplugs. Because I did not hear that person coming up behind me and getting in my head before they were even there.
Yeah.
So like it was already bothering me that that person was coming up behind me and I didn't know what they were going to do. So I feel like the earplug thing, I think I've heard this before though, on another one of that it's a big thing. And I, I agree. Cause
Yeah.
that's what, whenever I put the earplugs in and I went to intermediate, I didn't have any of it didn't freak me out when somebody was coming up beside me. Now when they just, well, there they go.
Yeah. I didn't think about it from that perspective. I've always thought about it from the perspective of your own bike where you don't hear the revs and stuff. So that sense of speed gets kind of taken away. But that's also a pretty interesting perspective on it about hearing the other bikes where it makes you, kind of less conscious of that, like you're being overtaken. So you can focus more on yourself. I mean,
Yes.
that's a pretty interesting point to be made on that. Like I said, I didn't really think about that, but that is a very good perspective on it.
Because I mean, in a race, I mean, I don't care what you're doing behind me. I'm trying to make you sure that you can't pass. That's all my job is. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. That's
So the other one was going to be like, intermediate and advanced. So we already kind of covered that. What do you think, on average is, I guess the thing that most people, no matter novice up to advanced, people coming in that have not ridden the track before, that are coming in for WERA races or whatever it may be, what do you think is on average is the most difficult part of Nelson Ledges for people to like really get a handle on and master?
Uh, this is gonna sound like almost like beating a dead horse because I feel like I've heard this before. 4,
Yeah.
12, and 13, but I feel like a lot of people are losing a lot of their time in one.
How so? I mean, I kind of agree with
The
you on that.
way
I'm just curious.
I feel like a lot of people overbreak it.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that.
It just seems they're always talking about the bridge and braking at the bridge, or letting off the throttle, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like that you're losing a lot of time because that's where you can be 5 mile an hour faster before you get to that turn and gain a lot of time in that turn and 12. I feel like
Oh yeah, breaking into 12.
getting into
Yeah.
12.
Yeah, I would for sure agree with that. I think that's I guess on the more nuance or technical area of it. I think like as far as just like if we talk about what turn is hard, I would agree with the 4 and 12 13. But yeah, when you
Yeah.
get into more, I guess technical, like I guess more seasoned riders, I would probably agree with that same thing of just like kind of over breaking one and into 12. Yeah, because like for sure when you race or whatever, even doing the endurances and stuff, because we ride Nelson so much, we know it like the back of our hand. Like you can just already pick out areas where you're like, you just gain time, and sometimes it surprises you. Like, did I just like pull up on this dude that I should definitely not be pulling up on? And yeah,
Yeah.
like those are
On a 1,000.
do what?
on I've pulled up on a SV 650 back when we were running the SV for endurance. I've come up on a 1,000 in turn 12
Yeah,
because they were slowing down way back in comparison to where like I was.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
you should not be able to do that with what 100 and probably 120 less horsepower.
Right, for
You
sure.
know, top speed of 100 and what 20 maybe.
What on the SV?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it,
and it's like what
yeah,
160 on 1,000, something like that.
yeah.
So we'll get into a little bit of the racing stuff. What has racing taught you? Like, what are some of the things that you've gained over? Because like doing the track days and the coaching that we do is we teach a lot. There's a lot to learn there, but not everybody's going to race, and that's fine. Like you don't have to. You can just enjoy track days, but there are quite a few benefits to racing and like an endurance. There's different things to learn in endurance than you would like from a sprint race. But what are some of the things that surprised you when you started to race, or things that you learned that you may have not have learned just doing your normal track day stuff by racing?
I feel like endurance racing is where I started, and that's what I enjoy the most. Um, just because I like being the consistency in endurance racing. You have to stay consistent in order to like. You can't be a minute, let's say a minute 12, and then a minute 10, then a minute 14, and for endurance racing, it's about consistency and making sure that you're doing this lap after lap after lap. Um, so I never really went into turn one full speed other than after I had already came out because I never started the endurance race.
Yeah.
I think that was my biggest hurdle is the starts and going into turn one and you didn't need any brakes.
Yeah, people like think they do, but you don't because you're starting halfway
Oh,
down. Well, more than halfway down the track or whatever.
yeah. You're probably getting to that corner about the speed that you would take it after you braked,
Yeah,
from coming
yeah,
straight. So I think that was my biggest that like wow.
yeah.
Like
Like a different perspective of like, oh shit, like yeah, It's,
Yeah.
do you feel like, I mean, one of the things I always felt like is like, whenever I raced, obviously, it's, you gain like, you drop like a second or two racing versus at a track day. And on top of that, to me, it seems like it's easier to like,
Yeah.
to do like a lap that's a second or two faster than you normally do on a track day. And on a track day, you're doing 2 seconds slower and you feel like you're pushing the limit.
I feel like it's almost because we hyper focus on everything that we're doing when we're track riding versus when you're racing, you're hyper focused on passing the person in front of you.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah, pretty much. I would agree with that.
Like it's you don't even everything slows down because now you're only focused on what's ahead of you versus everything, your entry, your setup, everything else on a track day is what you're thinking about.
So, have you
Or,
done sprint races?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
when sprint races, like if you ever get out ahead or there's nobody in front of you, do you find it hard to like keep pace? Because I always did. I've since changed that. I tried to get in a completely different mindset, but like it's very hard to like when you get either if you get out front or if like let's say there's a group that is like of two people that are just insanely fast, like got Moto America guys that come in and they just destroy Weir rounds, but then you could be ahead of like your normal club racers. So like you really don't have. I mean, there is people in front of you, but not. You know what I mean? Like you're not catching them, whatever. But you're still leading that pack. Do you find it hard to like push to keep that pace or not know whatever? I don't know. It seems to me like whenever I would get out front before, it was hard for me to like just steady push because before it'd be like, well, I'm out front. Do I need to push more? And yeah, you have to, obviously, but it took a lot of mental fortitude for me to just go, nope, still in this race. I have to still keep going. What's your perspective on that?
So that part didn't affect me just because sprint race. I mean, for
It,
sprint racing, it didn't affect me because I did endurance racing. So basically, is what I always tell myself: you get up there and you get in front of everybody. Now it's about consistency.
yeah,
It's not about pulling away. It's about being consistent, hitting your marks every time, because now they can't pass you if you're hitting your marks every time. It's a lot harder for them to pass. They're going around the outside.
yeah, yeah.
That's the only way they can, really do much to you. So, and until they're, coming up on me or I see them coming around me, yeah, it gets a little bit more of a bit in my mouth and I want to push a little harder. But
Or
the
get
main
defensive,
thing,
right?
yeah, is
Yeah,
be consistent after you're in the front
yeah. That
and
makes a lot of sense.
same lap times. So, like my last sprint race that I did at Nelson there, I had 3 laps back to back, exact same lap times.
That's incredible. That's one thing I lack is I typically am like, well, obviously your first lap is always slower, but I typically like ramp up and then like, and it's not like it's not like 3 second difference, but like it takes me a lap to get to my like 2 laps, first lap, then the second lap of like actual flying lap, and then that third lap will be like my fastest lap, and then I'll may put another one in that's real close to that, and then I may drop a little bit on the last two or whatever. But I've been getting more consistent, but I'm not like that's super consistent to be like dead nuts on or a tenth off or 100th off. Like Chris Bogert is like he may be a little bit slower than me, but his times are like, let's say if it was like a 12-1, so or 11 something, like maybe 1190, it'll be like 1190, 12, 1195, a 12 whatever within, a couple tenths, and like mine don't look like that. Like mine's, more than 2 tenths sometimes. It's getting better, but like yeah, I would have to assume like that endurance helps. I've done endurance before only on the ultralights, and it was super super fun. I'd like to do a little bit more endurance racing, but like it's hard to go to
Yeah.
every round. That's the
Yeah.
worst part. It's just like getting people to commit to a team is one thing. And then, getting people to commit and go and travel is another thing if you want to actually do several rounds. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely some benefit in it. I mean, the cost, when you think about how much track time you get, it's not a bad deal,
I know.
considering. But yeah, it's I don't know. But yeah, that makes sense. Endurance will definitely, help that that consistency.
And endurance is not all about yourself either. It's, whereas a sprint race, you're out to beat yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas endurance is a team effort.
Yeah, and I really like that aspect of it. Like, I've done endurance by myself because it was only 2 hours, but like I enjoyed it far more when I had another person with me. It was just there's just that camaraderie and stuff, and it's just awesome. Speaking about camaraderie and stuff, outside of the coaching aspect of it at the track, is there other things about Nelson Ledges that you just really enjoy? Like, for me, I love the hang after the track day. It's just like super fun, and like, you have a business with the vinyl stuff, and I do powder coating and stuff, and so there's some networking that we can do, but also like, man, I always just like, buddies or whatever, helping them out doing things like, you help with the bike behind me, Chris Johnson's, you decaled his stuff up in the pit, the day before the race for him and stuff. And like, it's cool shit like that. Like, there's people have so many different things that they do, or they're good at, or a skill they might have, or whatever that, or knowledge, whatever it may be, that we kind of give back and forth. And there's just that great camaraderie there. And then just the BSing is just fantastic,
Yeah. Sitting around a fire pit, doing whatever, talking everybody's different line choices to there's so many different line choices around Nelson that you could probably talk about that for a while. And different people struggle at different spots, and you can talk about that in the evenings. And then,
The question people have asked before, and I've asked this question to other coaches, not everyone, but I think quite a few. They're like, oh, do you guys still learn all the time? And do you guys get tips and tricks from other coaches? What have you learned since, just being coach up there and being around some of the other coaches? Are there things that you've picked up that help you improve? Any like, it could be line choice or just, anything. Could be down to body position or whatever. What are some of the things that you've picked up from some of the other coaches?
Well, pretty much all of that. But because like I've been with lean and fast tracks the whole time, or the majority of the time. So I've learned from even some of the coaches that were coaches back when before I coached. So like I've learned a lot of stuff from the coaches at Nelson. So, but I would say the carousel, I learned a lot in the carousel because that was always a struggle for me at the beginning. Entry into 12. I think I actually got that one from entry into 12 from Adam.
Okay.
Yeah. He drugged me in there one day. But I need to talk to you next year about 4 because I wrecked in 4 and 12. So 4, I still have not. I have not on the V twin. I'm better. I'm okay there, but on my 600, I just can't. I can't get it.
Yeah, we'll work on that. I'll help you with it. I don't claim to be the fastest person whatsoever, but I feel like I have 4 down pretty well there. And I helped quite a few people with it, and it may not be everybody. Like, when I was showing Chris Johnson my line, he's like, "Oh, that's not what Malachar showed me." And I went and talked to Malachar. He's like, "Yeah, this is why this Mark Young would take this line and blah blah blah." And like I went out and tried it. It did not work for me. I was extremely slow doing that particular line, and I just could not adapt to that. So, I mean, but when we look at data with Chris Johnson versus his, I mean, there's an apparent, like, I gained quite a bit of time in my particular line, but that could be from other different things. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very comfortable with my line, and it seems to give me a little bit of strength versus, you know, competitors in that particular thing. But again, like, man, you just go around that track so much and you get confident and stuff. Like, I've never crashed there, you know, in 4, so that does help quite a bit because, like, yeah, when you crash somewhere, that turn starts to become like, yeah, back off a little bit, you know.
So the reason I got hit in turn 4 is what happened. So I was coming. This was on the endurance bike at the time, and I was coming in more mid track, and somebody tried to come up in the inside and then come out and took the front tire.
Yeah.
So now my biggest thing is I come in too soon.
Yeah, you stay more inside. Yep.
Yeah, I stay inside a lot.
Like, and like, so that's the line that Malachar said is like when you drive out of 3 is to stay to the left and drive straight, brake hard, turn, and then accelerate out. And I'm like, that's a weird. I mean, for me, that's just a strange corner because it's you know, it's an increasing radius, and it just, like, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me that way. Like, I feel like my slow point is too slow. My slow speed is too slow, and it's too early. I don't know. There's something weird about it. But, like, man, I watched, you know, Robbie No takes a very different line than I've ever seen. Yeah. And the only other person that did it like Robbie No was Josh Hayes. And, like, that says something there that whatever that line is works really, really well. But Josh also went off in 4, attempting it a couple times first. But, yeah, I mean, there's just so many different ways to go around it. And I think the type of bike you're riding may have some to do with that as well, because you're just a characteristic of how the bike either handles or how you put power down, different things like that. I mean, there are so many different variations of things, but, like, I don't know. I also have a way of, like with Chris, I helped Chris in 4, like, after he crashed, he was just very, very hesitant to, like, try to make, like, to put any speed there. And, like, I'm like, okay, well, let's start with this particular way, build confidence, and then move it to where you can adjust that line. But, like, it's just getting the confidence at first to, like, take that corner again at a decent pace. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, well, for sure, man. I'm down to help you. I always love that shit. It's super fun.
Yeah. The only time that I feel like my inside line is an advantage is during racing or sprint races.
For sure.
Trying to block and make them go the long way around.
For sure.
But it's definitely not the fastest.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, just me personally, I don't think it is. But there may be just a better way to do that inside. But, you know, talking with the people that run that, I couldn't. Me personally, couldn't. It didn't fit my riding style. It seemed. Well, one, it felt like, I don't know, you were not really dangerous, but, like, unsettling and just slowing. It just felt like I had to slow too much to make the corner, where the way I do it, it seems more flowing. If that makes sense.
I feel like the other thing is you're not taking advantage of the camber of the track. You're not taking advantage of that when down in the bottom.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
The banking. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. If you get too far out, it flattens out, and then you're really screwed.
Yeah.
You know? So there is a fine line there, but let's see.
Yep.
I had another question. So look through my list here. I guess I didn't have that one. I know what I wanted to talk, because we kind of talked about one thing a little bit, a week ago or whatever. But, like, this obviously is one of the things that, like, when I started coaching. Okay, so we'll go back to kind of that first question almost of, like, or not first question, but, like, one of the third question, whatever it was, of, like, why you wanted to become a coach and whatever. My thing was, and it's kind of very similar to what your answer was. Mine was, like, you know, there wasn't that help from coaches when I wanted to become a coach. One of the main things, and this happened to me in my life of my work life, like I wanted to become a team leader when I worked at Honda because I was like, they're not doing things right. They're not treating the rest of the people correctly. And I wanted to be that positive change, which that positive change makes happier people, which then increases workflow, just to be treated as equals and like, whatever. I feel like the things that were lacking in coaching when I was coming up through it, I wanted to like make that positive change. Not that lean or fast tracks, because it was lean before it was fast tracks. I inquired when it was lean, but I didn't even know Sam was getting out of it, so he kind of put me off a little bit. But now I understand why, because they weren't going to be running anymore. But I never had issues there. It's always been very helpful and stuff. But remembering all the other instances I had, I'm like, man, I want to make that improvement, and not only make that improvement and be like what lean and fast tracks does, but I want to extend that farther. I want to make more improvements. I want us to be like, this is like the epitome of what an organization should be, no matter how small or whatever it is. Like, this should be like the playbook that people need to look at and go, this is what makes it successful and welcoming to people. And so I'm always thinking of things that could be improvements. I don't always act on them because, as we all know, we do that as it's volunteer work essentially, because we pay for our fuel there, pay for our fuel back, we pay for our tires. The thing we get is free track time, which in reality people go, oh, you get this free track time, but it's not. We coach novice at least once a weekend, so one of the days is for sure. I mean, we're on track, but we're going a 10th or 20th of the pace, which sometimes can hurt you,
Oh, yeah.
And the other day you may ride an intermediate or advance. Advance is more of the free track time because we're not, for the most part, we're just there to make sure that people aren't doing anything, that's unsafe. We help people when they want it or whatever. We're always there for that. But most of the time, if you're running advance, it's kind of like, go out and have some fun and just make sure nobody's doing anything that's unsafe. Is it real free track time? Not really, for the most part, because we're using up tires and fuel, et cetera, like I already said. So we are volunteers, and we do have day jobs and all those sorts of things. So even stuff like this, doing this interview, you're busy. And when you have the availability to do it, I have some flexibility in my schedule. So I just try to adapt to when you guys can do these, which is good. But it still takes time out of my day that I could be powder coating a set of wheels right now or doing whatever. But so that's why some of the things I think of, I don't always act on, because it's like, how much time is that going to take up? I'd love to do it, but there's this amount of time that I have free. I can't invest everything into this thing that we do for the love of the sport. And I thought this would be a very beneficial thing, but there are other things that I think that could be improvements that put us into that next level. And as I spoke with Malachar about it, like, he's very open to these things. If it has to do with something that's outside of the actual track day like this, where we get to introduce customers to people like you, people like me, to get a sensibility, to understand us a little bit more, and maybe we'll get some people that might not have came to the track to come to the track, or people that come to the track that don't, have that openness to be able to come up and talk to somebody. But now, since they've listened to them, they know them a little bit. Now maybe they'll be more open to come up and say, hey, can you help me or whatever. So there's, moving that needle. That's what this was about. But there are other things, for the track day part, the actual organizational things, and how we run things. Like, we've changed when we do leapfrog and novice from the front straight to the back straight, because the coach were like, this is a mess. If we do it here, it's going to be better. Yeah, whatever you guys think is going to work better and make it a better thing, which it still can be a cluster. But he's accepting to those. He'll try stuff, and he's very open to it. To help the organization and improvements. And so, is there things that we talked about one, and we can bring that up. But outside of that, do you think there are, what things do you see that you think it could be like a good improvement for the organization for, you know, just help to make the time the customers have a more special time there?
The thing that we had talked about was, making people feel or be able to express themselves about how
The
happy they are
achievements.
about getting the
Yep.
bumps.
Yep.
And I think that's huge because I'm sure that there's people that would love to be able to, have more pictures with better things and do different things. And I think, like we had talked about, doing something for that so they can take pictures with it. Maybe even for the first track day, have one for first track day.
That's a great idea too. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I mean, yeah, because like it is I don't know, I guess when you've done a lot of them, maybe that escapes your mind, or when you've been in advance for so long or whatever, it escapes your mind. But like, it really is a big achievement, and I mean, people could say it's corny or whatever. I mean, whatever. But like when you get into this stuff, that first track day to like, capture that moment, like of the first one, and then you can look back in 10 years and go, oh, look at that. This is when
Yeah.
this is when I was a noob. But like,
I wish I had pictures that were from that because like I'm looking like just having like doing this. Now I'm sitting here looking back and thinking, trying to remember
yep.
because I didn't have time to take pictures really. I was, but yeah.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I talked to, I forget who it was in an interview. It was an earlier one where I was kind of was it that? I think it was like the first, the writers meeting one where I had a couple of the novice people on, and I was talking about that, about making, which I already talked to Malachar about it the end of this year, about making some kind of like little trophy plaque thing for that bump from novice to intermediate and intermediate to advance, and they can get that picture taken with the coach or whatever, and we could post it up on the Facebook group, and to kind of to encapsulate that and make that memory for them. And it doesn't have to be John taking the picture, although it'd be great. But I know he's all over the track, so it'd be very hard. But even just a phone snapshot with something, I do see like Sport Bike Track Time does that, and that's kind of where I got that idea from. Not that it's a new idea, but like I think we should make a bigger deal of it. But like your first track day ever, that's a freaking great idea, man. I love that. And with your vinyl business, we could talk a little bit more about it afterwards. But like, it would be definitely cool to do like, because we have the little podium thing with the Nelson Ledges track day thing in the background, but maybe it'd be cool to make something that has fast tracks on it with the Nelson Ledges or whatever that we can stand in front of, that has like first day at the track. I don't know, something cool like that. But yeah, to like just to commemorate that and like, so with the novice class, who's never been to the track, boom, boom, boom. Okay. Well, end of the day or at lunch or whatever, we want to get all you people that have not done, or, this is your first day at the track, to get around this. We're going to snap a picture or whatever if they want. It's not something that we're going to force, obviously, but like, I think that's a freaking great idea, man. We'll definitely have to pitch that,
because I feel like that also helps if you're posting that on YouTube or wherever you put that. If a new person is seeing that, they're gonna be like, "Oh, well, look at all these new people."
That is
that are,
very
man, that brand, like all those people are new.
Yeah, that's an awesome point, which I didn't even think of. Like, to show that, like, damn, that was 6 brand new people, and like every track day you're seeing 3, 6, 10, whatever brand new people. You're like, okay, maybe I should get out there and do that. That's a very important fact of that, I guess. Yeah, that's
in order to get new people to come, we need to make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, not only comfortable, but just make it very special for them. Different from another organization, or like I said, Sport Bike Track Time does do like the bump thing, but like I think that we can make it even better, like improve upon that. Like I think it's a great thing that they do, but I think we can do that extra to like separate us from that to make it even better. I just think things like those, like, this is a hobby, man. People don't have to do this stuff, and like to make it that extra special thing for them, like they'll want to keep coming back, or they'll want to choose to come with our organization because we make this, there's more value there, the same thing I talk about with like any of the coaches next year that want to like record sessions, if they're doing one-on-one or whatever it is with somebody, I'm giving everybody who wants it, again, not forcing anybody to do it, but anybody who wants it that's a coach, access to the YouTube channel that I created for this stuff, to be able to just upload it. We'll just put a folder that's just you, and then you can upload it and put the description like, working with so-and-so, whoever it is, your client, and then the person you work with can go on there and view that stuff. And that's just something else. Like, I mean, I've only seen a couple videos of myself from third person view, and it's like random stuff, but I like seeing it because you can get so much out of that, like what you're doing, how you're doing it, what you can change from that third person view. And I'd love to see themselves on track. I mean, that's just proven, right? I mean, it's
exactly.
So
because I have one of the helmet cams,
like the Insta thing.
Yeah, for in your helmet.
Nice.
It works pretty good.
I picked up a 360 Insta 360 whatever X3. They were on sale Black Friday, and I'm like, that's perfect, because then I can go through the video and see if somebody's behind me or in front of me and put that up. And that's the only reason I bought it. Like, I already have a GoPro that I run like during my races and stuff, like first person view. But for like coaching stuff, I think that'd be great to have the front and back to be able to get, like, never know what you're going to see, but I have to go through the video. But I think that would be a cool thing. So anything else that you've thought of? A lot of stuff just pops up when you're at the track, right? You're like, oh, this would be cool. And then you forget about it.
I'm doing something else work related, and all of a sudden I'm like, hey, that'd be good. And then I forget to write it down. And,
been there. Yeah. I do want to do, like, people are like, oh, your podcast. Like, well, one, it's not mine. I'm doing this interviewing coaches and stuff, and I don't consider a podcast because once I run out of coaches to talk to, that's it. Like, I may we have some vendors to talk to, and some of the people, because I don't have their numbers or whatever, it's not going to be till next year anyways. But I think talking to some of the customers at the track, I want to do that. And so I picked up like the little DJI mic minis. Again, Black Friday sale was too cheap to pass up. I'm like, I'll just snag them up to the iPhone and either just send one of you guys out or whatever, or myself. Cause like, I don't want to always do it. I want everybody else to do it. Like, and Dieter's like, you should try this out. I'm like, bro, go for it. Take it over, man. Like, it's yours, dude. Like anybody can do it. I don't care. And to be honest, if other people wanted to do this stuff, please do. It'll take some load off of me, so I don't have to worry about it. But I think that'd be interesting just to get people's feedback, like at the track, just walk around, have a good day, whatever, chit chat, or, get some of the coaches after the day and just have a little BS session that you can put into like a 15-minute clip, just something. Yeah. But again, like, I think there'll be a lot more content to get to put up, during the season than now. But like, this worked out in the winter, gives some people, some insight into us and whatever. But
so, are you putting this on to the booking website, or are you just doing this on YouTube?
Well, so Malachar does the website, and he has a link on there. But like, good luck. Tell me if you find it. It's like,
that's what I was.
It's very buried.
I look.
Yeah, it's very buried. It's like, oh, one of our coaches had put up a YouTube channel for the coaches, and it's just like a hot link. But I personally, for me, I think it should be at the top where whatever. It's like the Fast Tracks YouTube channel, because I don't want people to think that it's my channel. I don't care. Like, it's not getting monetized. This like, I have, this isn't like I want to be known type thing. I could care less. I'd rather just have somebody else do the interviewing, to be quite honest. Because it's out to me. It's weird. I don't like being a personality type thing. It's strange to me, but I think you should still have like, here's the Fast Tracks YouTube channel, and people can go
or
to it.
even be able to put like screenshots of the where you put like the bike and the coach like on there, and then you could like each one, so
Yeah.
people can be like, oh, I know this guy,
Yeah, I think that maybe more than he wants to invest
Yeah,
time wise on it or something. But like, I don't know. I mean, even just a link that like people can actually notice instead of being buried. Which I guess I should just talk to Malachar and say, hey, why don't you just put it at the top there with all the other things. But I mean, there's so much stuff buried because it's a lot of text down through there in the front page. But yeah, it is there. It's hard to find. But
okay.
But yeah, like, dude, I'm all about like just trying to improve stuff. It's just like I said, and you know this wholeheartedly. It's like getting time to do it. Like it's such a great idea, but then you're like, man, how much time do I have to invest in this? Do I have the time and or resources? Because I mean, again, I invested the time to like learn how to even freaking do this recording crap, and it's like it's annoying. I want to throw my computer, but
But at least you're not editing either. I mean,
I will not. 100% will not. I don't care. People can complain. I just don't want. I don't have the time to do it, man.
Keep it raw.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. But we'll try to get creative. I mean, everybody has some like really kick-ass ideas. We just need to like sort out the ones that like, okay, will we do them? Is it feasible to do? Is it easy to do? Because again, we're all volunteers. It's got to be simplistic, but be a good improvement. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we'll figure some stuff out.
Yeah, I know one thing that I wanted to. We'll see where things end up and how things go. But is even if I make a regular, just a plaque for the people, not the ones to take pictures with,
to give.
Take home,
Yeah. That's an awesome idea too. Good Lord.
And I got to see, where the cost and how, that part of it. But
wonder if you can write that off.
You do it yourself, and you don't have to pay.
Yeah, I wonder if you can write that off as some kind of donation type thing.
I can, because I have already done some of that, because that's why I have my business name on the side of the bike for that reason. It's now advertisement, and that's promotional products.
Yep. Fantastic. I was just thinking about something. I was going to say, oh man. Shit. I just lost it. I don't know if it was important or not, but, oh yeah. I would like, one thing I thought of to do, and I'd rather just have one of you guys do it, because I do enough talking to everybody else that I'd rather have one of you guys do it, to do a video that we put up on the YouTube channel of like, so our rules or requirements for each, for like novice, for your bike, for novice, intermediate, and advanced, to go through and say, okay, for novice, our rules are to tape this up, and kind of like show an example on your bike, like whatever, like, making sure the wheel weights are taped up, and tape off your mirrors, and like go through that thing, and then go, okay, for if you're an intermediate, the requirements are, and you can just read, have a printout of it and read it right off of that, but then be by the bike and be able to show those examples. And I think that would be like a worthwhile thing, because people will watch that video before they read that shit. They will not read it.
Yeah. I want to be able to see. That's how I operate. Like I don't go off of words. Like I gotta see pictures. I'm a visual person.
Yeah, and I think it will get more traffic as a video than it would ever get as like the link on the website. And to, like you said, to have that visual to see like, okay, so I have to do exactly what he did. I just gotta put a dab of silicone on this, or tape this up, or remove this, or whatever. But to see an example of it, yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. So like, if one of you guys want to do that, that would be awesome. And then we'll just load it up on the YouTube and be cool.
Peter's the one that needs to do that, because he's still got street fairings at the moment.
Perfect. Yeah, talk to him. You guys figure it out, and then I'll just give you guys access, and you can load it up and put the description or whatever. If I need to create a thumbnail for it or whatever, we'll work it out.
Yeah.
But Yeah.
And you could even Mike could use that on the his website too for like, oh, you're a novice, watch this video.
Yep.
You're an intermediate.
I think we do it
This
all as one. That way, just one big
Yeah,
video. I mean, you could break it into three if you want, but like the video for novice would be like what, 2 minutes?
yeah,
Because there's
yeah,
really not a lot there. But if you put everything together and then he could just hot link the video or put the video up on the site with the text, people are going to click
yeah.
on the video and they won't even read
Oh,
the text. So, but to
I
be able to
would.
be, yeah, same here for sure. So yeah, I think that'd be a cool idea to do. But you guys, I'll let you guys do that because I just don't want to do it. So
You're already doing this,
yeah,
so
exactly. It's
yeah.
enough. Yeah, man, that's all the questions I got. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on, or like that we haven't spoke on, or something that you just really want to get across, or anything you can think of?
My biggest thing is try not to overwhelm yourself as a first day track rider, or even anywhere in novice. It doesn't matter how long. You might be nervous, but like, think of a couple things to focus on instead of worrying about everything. Because, like, let's just say today we're going to work on vision. That's it. I'm going to work on looking ahead instead of trying to focus. This isn't usually the first day, probably thing, but as you go through novice and you go through intermediate, even advanced, not overwhelming yourself with so many thought processes of what you have to fix.
Yeah,
You know,
that seems to be a very common theme with everybody. With the coaches, they say that, and I couldn't agree more. Like, you can't try to fix 10 things and then because I think it was Marty who said it or whatever. Like, if you're trying to working corner to corner, even like, well, if you screw that up, you mess up the first lap, then or the first corner or turn two that you were working on, and it kind of feels like you've destroyed the whole lap and you whatever. But like, okay, well, who cares? Like the rest of the track, it doesn't matter. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna run the line that we can, or work on that. But like, we're focusing on this particular thing. So if like you're talking about vision, like, okay, well, we're not working on getting the exact line. We're working on our vision right now. So if I don't hit this apex perfect, it doesn't matter.
yeah,
We're working on the vision part.
yep.
So that
And
that's
then
a yeah. Go ahead.
another thing is like, this is what I try to do for myself. And then the next thing that I'll work on the next session will be, okay, I'm working on being smooth.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, that's it. Just being, smooth with everything. Then my braking. Then I focus on braking it at the hard braking points, trying to go a little bit farther. I tend to focus on one specific thing on all corners instead of doing it the route that I've heard before, where you focus on this corner. I focus on braking in all corners,
but
and then
one
I focus
specific
on,
task of what you're doing, but
yeah,
for all corners. Yeah,
yes.
yep. I
So
mean,
there's different ways and different
but you're still
ways of
breaking it
process.
down into to bite-sized things instead of like trying to gulp it all down at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That I mean, it makes the most sense because I mean, yeah, it is like if you're trying to get everything perfect when you end up not doing something perfect on one particular corner or whatever it is, like you feel like, well, the whole lap is disastered or whatever. And like, you feel like, I don't know, there comes a weight on you. Like, I'm just not improving. Yeah. But like, it's because you're focusing on everything all at once. And it's a lot of weight, but like break it down either corner by corner or specific technique or particular thing of that, like your turn in maybe, or like you said, vision or braking for every, corner on the track, but you're only focusing in on narrowing it down to one task.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The braking thing for me is effective braking, not using the motor to slow yourself down coming into the corner and then braking.
Yeah.
You're either on the throttle or on the brake
Right.
thing. That the effectiveness of doing that versus letting off the throttle and gradually going on the brakes, which I see a lot where they'll it's like they immediately trail into it instead of hitting their hard braking when they're straight up and down and then feathering out. They're doing it almost the opposite. I see
Feathering
a
in
good
and then hard break at the end because they're like, oh, I'm going too fast. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, that
like
makes
they
sense.
don't have the yeah. So that's one thing that I following behind you see happen a lot, and then that causes a panic reaction.
Yeah, you're
Now they're in
100%
too
right.
deep, and then they go wide, and then they freak out again because now they look at the grass instead of finishing through the corner, which then goes back to vision.
Yep.
So like that, yeah, that's that's what I always say is like,
And
yeah,
maybe there should be, I don't know, that could be something that you could structure of like, okay, we have the novice class thing, which is structured very well. And there could be, I've said it
absolutely,
already, that I think there could be some things that could be changed in there for the better. There could be some things that could be omitted. And I think like that first initial like talk that they have is like overwhelming because they go over a whole bunch of stuff at one time. Although we're not focusing all those things right at that moment, they go over a ton of stuff, and I think it's a little overload. But they want to hit all these topics, and I understand that. And there's some things that could be omitted or some things that could be added. But like for intermediate, like some of the people that graduate, into the intermediate class, like maybe there is something that's like, you don't have to do this. Obviously, you're free to do whatever you want intermediate. But if you want some help, here are the things to, if you want some help in breaking things down into bite-sized things like you're talking about, like what, that's something maybe you could come up with, and you and Dieter or whoever, Schwanek, like collaborate on it and go, what do you think is the most important thing to focus on first? Is it vision? Like, okay, focus on vision first, get that down 100%, and then move on to this. Or, just some kind of little bit of structure for anybody that has an interest in it to take into intermediate with them to utilize. Like, here's a little bit of structure, things to do. Like, here's session 1, focus on this. Session 2, focus on this, etc. I mean, it might be useful.
yeah. And having a lap timer and seeing focusing on vision, how much you can almost gain. I have a lap timer and I've done that. When you're focusing on looking forward or you're working on your braking or whatever you're working on, seeing what the reaction is with your times.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's a good marker. It's a huge marker.
Because
Sometimes a lap timer can be a bad thing too. Sometimes.
it's, you can use it for, yeah, you can use anything for bad. So
Yeah.
like if you hyper focus on just your lap times, it can get, then when you hit a spot where you're not going any faster, you get disappointed in yourself and all that.
Been there,
So,
done that.
I didn't have one until I started sprint racing.
Yeah,
Didn't have a lap timer. So
I didn't either. It was after racing that I got one finally.
yeah,
But it is good information, especially when you can share laps with somebody and see speeds into thing. Just those little data points that are like, oh, okay, I see where I'm losing time or whatever. But yeah, man. Anything else before we roll? Then that was a good one.
no, that's pretty much all I have.
Cool, man. Well, like I always say, I appreciate you taking the time out because this is, I mean, you're working construction for I don't know how much longer, but and your other deal with your vinyl stuff. So, even to be able to get to sit down is taking some time away from things, and appreciate you being able to do this.
Yeah.
And having the interview,
Yeah.
it helps me out, and hopefully it helps everybody else out to get to know you, maybe get some knowledge out of it that we didn't have before. So yeah, just really appreciate you sitting down to do this, and can't wait
And
to
if anybody needs number plates, hit me up.
yeah, and you can do some graphics too for you, man. His bike, both your bikes are wrapped, right?
Yeah,
Full wraps.
they're full. Yeah,
So very cool.
I did it just to prove to myself that I could do a complete wrap on one without piecing it. So that was more of a challenge for myself than anything.
Yeah, I would never attempt that. No,
It's-
thanks.
It's not very cost effective to completely wrap a full wrap bike. Like my tail section is one piece, not pieces.
Yeah, I'm good. Leave that to you, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, can't wait to get back out there and see what kind of improvement stuff. We'll definitely work on the the plaques and stuff for like the new person and the bumps and stuff, we'll definitely talk about that. I think we'll 100% make that happen. We're going to do it. So,
Yep.
Well, again, thank you. And we'll just sign off from here. And so thanks for joining us, Mr. Yeah, man. Thanks for doing it, Mr. Bauman. And look him up at the track. He'll give you some good advice, give you some toe, give you some structure. So we'll leave it there. See you guys.